All right, everyone, we have some breaking news. Apparently, Donald Trump, link in the description, archived of course, is planning to sign an executive order making English the national language of the United States. I strongly support this. While I don't give a shit what language people speak at home, maybe they speak Spanish, maybe they speak French, maybe they speak Dutch, maybe they speak Chinese or whatever. You should have an actual recognized national language for government purposes mainly. What this would do is make it so that government paperwork and things like that are easily transcribed because there's one language being used for all of them for federal and state purposes. It would make sense. It's a sensible policy. I'm sure that in the next coming hours, and we'll probably be talking about this on the live stream because this will happen very quickly. The liberal legacy media will declare it xenophobic and say that Donald Trump hates Hispanics and things like that. This has worked so well as a strategy, politically speaking, by the way, for the liberals, by the way, over the last few years. They're going to come out and call him xenophobic and say he hates people that speak broken English. He hates people that speak other languages. He hates people from other cultures. He's an Anglo-Saxon supremacist, basically. But the fact is that the majority of people who have ever existed in the United States have spoken English. It's the language of business. It's the language of government, generally speaking. It's the language of commerce, etc. It's not a slap at other people. Nobody's saying that your language is deficient or that there's something wrong with it. Nobody's saying that. It's just acknowledging the fact that 99% of the population, for at least business and commercial purposes, speaks English. It's a recognition of that. It simply makes sense. To establish a national language, in my opinion, therefore, is a good idea. It's nothing to do with xenophobia, racism, ethnicity, all of that bullshit. That's just leftoid nonsense. Has nothing to do with that. Has to do with streamlining things, especially for state purposes. If you want to have a business, for example, let's say that you just immigrated from Mexico. You don't speak a whole lot of English. You mainly speak Spanish, and you mainly hire workers who speak Spanish. Nobody cares if you want to speak Spanish in the workplace. And nobody cares. That's not a problem. Has nothing to do with me. Has nothing to do with the greater economy or the population in general. Let's say you came down from Quebec and you settled in New England and you hire mainly Quebecois workers, the bourgeois, of course, and you generally speak French on the work site. Nobody cares about this. It doesn't make any difference. By the way, I will note one thing, and it's probably been noticed by most of you. The only time that they bring up ethnicity or xenophobia or any of these other left-wing boogeymen is when it has to do with people who are speaking a Hispanic language. If a group of Frenchmen decide to move into the United States, start a car dealership, and they mainly speak French on the job, and Trump is, pushing, English as the official language, none of them have jack goddamn shit to say about it. Hmm, I wonder why. Oh, shit. Could it be due to ethnicity or perceived ethnicity in many cases? I think that we've consolidated the idea there. It's happened over and over again. Trump hates Hispanics. Trump hates black people. Trump hates women. Trump hates transgendered individuals. Trump hates people who are gay, which is clearly and objectively not the case, by the way. Over and over again, it's basically this particular political movement and its adherents, anyone who supports him in any way, shape, or form, materially or otherwise, hates all of these groups of people. We're filled with hate. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here saying, I don't give a fuck if you speak Spanish on the job. Who cares? Communicate in whatever way you can to maximize your workflow. That's the whole point of your goddamn business. It doesn't matter if it's Spanish, French, or anything else under the sun. Oh my God, they're speaking Arabic. They're speaking Swahili. Who cares? Perfectly fine by me. But you should have an actual national language. You're recognizing that for legal purposes, for government purposes, for taxpayer funded purposes, the traditional language of the nation has been English. That's just the way American English. By the way, interesting factoid about linguistics that most of you don't know. The American accent, especially the Hudson Bay accent, is closer to how people talked centuries ago in England than the modern posh, English accent. The modern English accent is actually an adventure more than anything else within linguistics and wasn't originally a thing. They would have been talking more like I'm talking right now, actually. Well, maybe not me because I come from the Connecticut River Valley accent region, and so some people complain when I mispronounce words or supposedly mispronounce them. It's a big problem. And I came from the eastern side of Vermont, not the western side. I don't have the Hudson accent. Well, kind of, but I've got a little bit of a mix. It's Connecticut River Valley plus a bit of Rhode Island, a bit of Massachusetts, and a bit of Western Vermont, the Hudson Bay region. So yeah, sometimes I say words wrong, as though there's a wrong way to say them. I like to make spells. What can I say? So yes, Trump is going to sign an executive order apparently establishing a national language. This will be immediately injuncted in the federal court system. They will immediately injunct it. It'll be within a matter of hours, probably, once the order is signed. It'll go before the Supreme Court presumptively. I believe that he will prevail ultimately because he does have that executive authority. It's just a declaration. It's sort of like if you declared, the mineral of the United States or the national food or something like that. It's just a declaration. It's symbolic, generally speaking, but it is still of import because for federal government purposes, it will actually have legal standing. That's basically as far as you can go. The federal government doesn't have the right to force a state, under the 10th Amendment, of course, to acknowledge, for example, a national language or anything like that. But it does have the right to command federal workers who are under executive purview, especially, to acknowledge a national language. And so that's probably what's going to happen. I have a feeling there's a 90% chance that he prevails in the courts. I can't imagine what legal standing any of his opponents would have in order to try to stop it. Because again, it's basically a symbolic gesture more than anything else. That's about all. Peace out.